Everyone, welcome back to the Glassman's world. So, we're about to get started here. It is, what is it? It's Thursday, November something or another. I don't even know the day. I don't know what today is. What is it, November 20th already? Okay, I guess it's November 20th, guys. So, about to get started here. I finally got some oxygen. I thought we were going to get started the other day, and I had posted the videos all getting back to work, and then I go and I get started, and I'm like, oh, I have no oxygen. There is no getting back to work at all here. So that was sad, but I was able to get my oxygen refilled today. One thing is, they have, and you can see the oxygen here in the background over here, the green tank. One thing is I had a 250 cubic foot oxygen tank, and they didn't have any more 250 tanks. So they were like, well, we got a 300. If you're okay with that, we'll just swap it out for you. You can go on ahead and keep the 300, or you can come back and talk to me sometime. We can get you back to 250. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just hold on to the 300. It's only running me $5 more to fill this one up compared to filling up the other one. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense, you know. If this is a 300 and I'm paying like close to $40, that's $20 for 150. But then when I'm getting the 250 by itself, they're charging me like $30. So I don't really know what to break it down to. It's kind of interesting how to try to break it down. Sometimes I'll get charged only like $20, $22, $25, and sometimes I'm getting like charged $30. I don't know what's going on with the rates these days. I really wish that they would figure it out, because I don't know what I'm actually paying or supposed to be paying these days. But we're going to try to get started here with the piece that we were working on the other day. And I'm just going to flash this into the flame, and we'll see how this comes out. It looks like it's got a decent little spiral in there. So we'll see. Maybe I need to make them even smaller. I'm really not sure. Like, what do I really need to do to make these like really, really pop? Like I want them to pop. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Sometimes, less is more. And that's what I've learned with the jellyfish. I used to try to do like way too much and draw all these lines and all this detail for the tentacles. And then I learned doing just a few of them, having the one in the center with the 5 going around it. So 6 tentacles total made them just become like so realistic looking. And less is more. I used to try to put like, I don't know how many tentacles in there, 20 of them or whatever. But let's get started here. Let's make sure we got the live chat up. All right. I don't know if that's a good angle or not. I guess that'll work. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Here. We'll cut this one in half. Then we have another working rod here. And clean it up with the Norwex OptiCloth here, like always. We'll get that whole section there. So that's 2/3 of the 5-foot piece. So normally I'll cut it into a third, and then there'll be another piece, and I'll cut this one in half. So then I'll have 3 pieces from a 5-foot rod. which if you want to try to do the math on that, you're welcome to do so. I guess that's about 20 inches on each one. So a little over 1.5 feet on each one of these pieces. So I guess that's what I'm working, is about 1.5 foot rod, 16 millimeter. I'm just going to get that a little bit hotter here. All right. So now we got a couple rods here ready to go. We got this rod here also ready from last time. We got the cobalt here ready to go. We got this little shorty piece right here in case we need that. And like I said, let's start with this one here. Let's see if we can just get this one put right back into the in the flame. And hopefully we won't crack it, we won't lose it or anything, it won't pop off the punchy or nothing like that. I'm just gonna, I think I can just go directly in. I don't know, I'm like, maybe it's gonna pop right off the punchy if I'm not too careful. I'm just going to try to get this tip in here, get it warm. Oh, I felt something pop. I don't know if anything cracked or if it was the punchy that kind of gave free there. I wonder if this thing could just fall right off at any moment. I think the punchy kind of snapped away a little bit. I felt something in here. Alright, but we got the heat on there. We're going to get it all warmed up now. We're going to melt this the front lens of the pendant here. We'll add a loop on it. And then we'll just keep on playing with some of these galaxy glasses. We'll see what we can do. So I figured that we just do some live glass blowing tonight. No real topic, nothing specific to talk about really. Just wanted to blow glass. Wanted to there's something about these galaxy glass, or vortex glass here, that I really wanted to like play with it and try to get the wispy lines that get through here and really see what I can do to make it look like a cosmic vortex, a nebula in the sky or something like that. So we got our first snow in the mountains covering up all of the sandias today, which was so beautiful. It was a beautiful sight to see. I love it when our mountains get that snow, you know, the snow dusting just right on top, on the highest elevations, on the peak of the Sandia Mountains. It's so beautiful to see that. And then the lower parts of the foothills, it's usually not covered, so you get that dark contrast from the real bright white snow on top. And then it didn't cover like entirely, so it just dust at the top of the sandias. And then you see like, you know, that white and dark highlight between the mountains and where the trees are, and then the snow, and landing on it. Like, it was just beautiful. So today I think was our first like real snowfall, I guess, of the season. And last night we had our first rain in probably about 30 days or so. I think it maybe even over 30 days, over a month now, which is really interesting for this time of year. You know, sometimes we'll get the rain and those freak storms that come through during when we have the balloon fiesta, which is the first week of October. And I don't remember us having any sort of rains during balloon fiesta. If I remember correctly, I don't think we had any kind of rain. And it's been a while since we've had some rain. I think it's been over 30 days. So probably since the end of October. Maybe we got rain the week after Balloon Fiesta. I don't really remember. I don't recall now. Alright, we're about to pull this loop now. Bring this forward into the pendant. We're going to bring it around. And just slowly, gradually bend it. You don't want to fold the glass and like pinch it. So you want to allow it to like kind of solidify, like set up some, but then you still want it to be malleable. So you don't want to like create any sharp points, sharp angles into the loop. You want it to really just like flow freely around. So I'm watching the meteorologist recently, and looks like they say we might have some snow coming up this weekend for Sunday, which that'll be too bad if it snows on Sunday, because that'll be our second market. The Curious Sunday Market is what we're calling it, at a Curious Toast. Our new host, Curious Toast. And every Sunday we'll be out there from about 9 till 3. Curious Toast opens at 8 o'clock, so we may even start getting there a little bit earlier. I'm not sure. I'm actually trying to get there at 7:30 so I can preserve the parking lot and make sure that no one parks in the spot where we're going to be vending. So we'll see. I figure by Friday, Saturday, which I guess tomorrow is Friday, we'll be able to tell if they're going to start spraying a lot again. And usually if they spray heavily with the chemtrails or the aerosol canvassing, then that usually means that they're going to dissipate the clouds and not allow the rain to fall or the snow. So, but in the middle of the night, the sun isn't heating up the aluminum particulates, so that's usually when we get our rain to fall. It's in the middle of the night here in Albuquerque. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not. Most of our rain falls in the middle of the night, although we did get some rain throughout the day today, which was beautiful. And then, like I said, we had that snow up on the Sandias, which is also, that was just amazing. I don't take photos anymore of that. Not with my phone camera. It doesn't do the justice. It's like, oh, the memory is great. I remember what it looked like. But to try to share that out to you guys. It's not even the same thing. So I quit even trying to share that kind of stuff. Like trying to take photos of the moon. Like, yeah, that's not working at all. Alright, so we're just setting this loop, making sure it's nice and straight, nice and strong. I think I'm going to bend it over slightly this way some. Hold it up this way to make sure it's nice and straight. If we need to twist it or anything, this would be the time. Alright. So let's see if we can get these spirals any tighter on the next one. That one looks okay. That one looks decent. I feel like it needs air bubbles or something in there. Like I purposely put air bubbles in my glass. Should I do it? Or just purposely just boil it right on the tip? That'd be so weird to purposely do that. We normally don't want air bubbles and we don't want to boil the glass, but it would look kind of cool to have some little bubbles and stuff floating in there. Alright, well there's the one that we started the other day and we just finished it now. We'll get this one in the kiln and we'll get started with a brand new one. We'll do the whole entire technique from beginning till end right here. So thanks for tuning in and watching. I do see that someone's here. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's 8 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock here. About 8:45 in the evening. And I'm just getting started, trying to decide how I want to do this. Okay, we're going to do the most shortest, smallest little lines if possible. Something like that. And then we'll get these to spiral up. So you just get that piece molten, attach it to the punch-in, and you just spin it, and then it'll just grab it. And I don't know if you can see those lines there or not. Little spirals in there. I don't know if you can see them. But that's now the vortex there. Maybe even smaller than that. Maybe I'm just gonna draw a little like elongated dots. I don't know. I kind of want it even smaller of a design here. Alright, I'm gonna flatten it on the pad here. That'll create the flat back. I'm gonna just use the paddle to help flatten it out some. Add the cobalt to the back. You know what? I'm gonna do. I saw something the other day, and I was like, huh, that looks interesting. It was like a little dot directly in the middle there. Kind of like it was in the center of the universe. We just put a little dot there just for fun. We'll see what that does. Hopefully I didn't mess it all up now. There's no going back at this point. We're just going to leave that there. Hopefully it's not too big, which it could be. We're just going to melt it in, sink it in, let it get flat. There it is, nice and flat. And then we'll just help that out. Now we'll add the cobalt to the back of it here. And then I'll just mash this to the back. So this here, for those of you who are just tuning in, never watched me before, this is called lamp working. It's a form of glass blowing, lamp working or torch work. The torch is known as the lamp. And so we're doing torch work or lamp work here. We're melting glass in the flame, bringing solid glass into a flame and getting it to a molten state. Whereas in the old school glass blowing, the offhand glass blowing, they use the furnaces, and they have liquefied glass that they then attach to the metal pipes, the blow pipes that they can then blow into and shape and things like that. And they can do solid glass as well with just sculpting and shaping, which is pretty much what I'm working on here. Is pretty much solid glass lamp work, where I'm not actually doing any sort of glass blowing. I'm not actually blowing into the glass. There was someone recently who posted up that when I shared it out, they're like, well, technically none of this is actually hand blown. And I'm like, well, most people who like understand glass work, they know the term like hand blown glass, even if it wasn't like blown or like hollow or made from tubing or anything like that. A lot of people will still understand that if you say it's hand blown, it's pretty much, handmade in a torch. Someone made it, created it, melted glass, and was able to shape it. So the term glass blowing, it's a kind of a generic term for like, if someone says that they're painting, but really what is it that they're doing? Are they doing a fresco? Are they doing a watercolor? Are they doing something very advanced? I don't know. I don't know too many different techniques. Is it pastel, watercolor, oil, colored pencil, black and white, acrylic? There's so many different mediums in glass and stuff. So this is technically known as lamp working, but people know it, we're blowing glass here. We're making glass. We're melting. We're definitely melting here. We're burning. So right now I'm melting this cobalt blue that we attached to the back side of the pendant, or what will soon become the back side of the pendant. And we're just getting it all molten. We're getting rid of this ridge here. I don't know if you can see that ridge, but we're getting rid of that ridge. We're getting it all to sink in as one piece, and then flattening it all down, and it'll look like a beautiful pendant here in just a moment. And sometimes it just takes a little bit extra patience. A lot of people, though, when they're first blowing glass, they see how it's moving, and then they'll be like, ooh, and they'll take it out of the flame, and they'll look at it, and put it back in, and every time you take it out of the flame, you lose a little bit of momentum on that heat. And then you got to bring it back up to that same heat that it just was at, and then hold it there to get it there a little bit more molten, to where it really starts to flow and really starts to move on you. Alright, we'll flatten this one down on the pad here. And these are all about an inch wide, maybe a little bit wider. We could actually take some calipers to it and find out where it's at. That's 31 millimeter. So 1 inch would be 25.4 millimeters. So that's a little bit bigger than 1 inch. Alright, now we'll just go around the edge of it here, just to make sure I don't have any tooling marks from the measuring calipers there. And we'll get that all nice and wet, all molten, super white hot, to where it's just so liquefied. I call it wet. It's just getting that glass nice and wet, where it's just all molten and moving and flowing and getting all the molecules just going in there. Alright, now we're going to attach the puntee, which is just a scrap piece of glass. And we'll get this on the back of it here. So we'll get the puntee molten. This is still extremely hot, so we're going to attach it, and it should just stick right to it. Try to get that as centered as you possibly can. If the attachment isn't centered, you can move the rod to the left or to the right, and at least center the rod with the axis of your thicker 16 millimeter rod. So you want to make sure that both of these pieces of glass, when you spin them, they're really nice and straight. There's no sort of wobble, like once I get this molten, I can show you. There's no wobble like this, where it's just, you know, where it's doing that. Like they're both of them are nice and straight. All right, so now we're gonna cut this off here. We got this all nice and molten. We'll bring the flame into the body of the pendant here, so it pulls more of the glass from the pendant instead of from the rod. That way we don't have too much excess clear. We're gonna roll that back up onto itself. And with making these, I really don't care if I trap any sort of air bubbles. When I do that, I kind of want to with these vortex and galaxy marbles here, or pendants. And then I'll just roll that on the pad. We're just getting this molten and ready for the next one here. So then I can put that down. We'll get this molten here. We'll probably pull off a little bit of this excess on the tip. I do like the spiral in here. The spiral's a lot smaller, and it's giving me that more better detail that I'm really looking for in the outcome of these. So this might have actually coming out really nice. And then I see the dot of color there, which, you know, could represent some sort of a planet or something just flowing there. And we put that behind the nebula, which might be a little weird. And we can put it in front, but then that takes a different way, a different style of layering. But we could do that. So this one, the planet's on the back side, like it's already got sucked in. Alright, so that vortex looks really, really nice, guys. You just hold it there a little bit longer, get it nice and wet so it's all white hot, and then just allow it to sink in and let that flame just do all the work for you so you can round it. You don't need any sort of rounding tools, no marble marbers, no marble molds, nothing like that. Just use the flame and just continue to rotate and get that all nice and round. See that? All nice and round in the front there, still flat on the back. Make sure it's nice and straight. Get the cobalt, figure out where we want to do this. I think I'm going to put that planet. You see that? Look at that. That looks cool. Let's put that planet right on the bottom like that. Or do we want it on top? I mean, that looks kind of cool too. Huh. Kind of like it on top. So that's the thing, is it's my discretion there to figure out where do I really want to put that? How do I really want to set it? That vortex did come out nicely though. I do have to say. Alright, so then we just go directly into the flame right behind the cobalt there. Allow the flame to just kiss that and get it molten. Nice and white hot right there. Both pieces are white hot. Push them together. Then pull them apart a little bit. Then go in there and heat the whole thick part of the loop. And as you heat it, bend it towards the front. So then both of your rods are now like this instead of that 90-degree angle. Continue to heat it and pull it. Shape it. Then bring your loop around. And then we'll attach it, pull it off, get your reamer, use the reamer to help guide it into place. And I just heat up that thinner part towards the back. Get it to flow into the front. This front's really thick, so I'm going to actually heat it up and kind of pull it and get some of that glass to flow to the back side of this loop here. Oops. Accidentally indented the cobalt. Alright, so I'm just trying to like heat up that thick part, and then I'm trying to stretch it without stretching out the thin parts as well. All right, we're almost there. Just gonna thin out or thicken that part that's thinned out in the back now. We got it all pulled up gradually and it doesn't look as bad as it was a second ago. I thought it was way too thin on some of the parts on that front part, and I didn't like the way it flowed. All right, I think we got that all nice and straight there. Looking at it at all different angles. We put it up on top, that little planetary thing, and the spiraling up more towards the top there. I think that one came out pretty nice. We just got to keep that spiral really, really tight. We got to make sure that, yeah, look at that. That looks great. All right. So, heat up the punchy mark in the back. Get that all back to nice and smooth. Get everything flowing. Sometimes you might get a little indention on there and you just got to heat it up and get it all flowing. It's too bad I didn't get that pendant or that planet more centered, but that looks really cool. All right, we'll get this one in the kiln. All right, let's do that again. So we'll preheat the tip here. We'll get our Snow White, or sorry, our Ghost White. Add the 4 lines going down. And what I was saying is we probably could just do like a few little elongated dots. And just heat that up, and then we'll get that all molten, and then we'll twist it up here with a different, so I have one punchy that I use to hold it, and then this punchy on the right here I use for other things like grabbing a hold of this or whatever. So we're gonna get this nice and molten. Attach that to the center there. Start to spin it. It should get all of that nice and spiraled up for you. And then snap it. Let it settle for a second, and well, I didn't even have to snap it, it just came right off. And then all that white, the Ghost White, should be spiraled up on the tip of this here. And then, like I said, if we wanted to get this with the planet in the front instead of on the back side, then you just got to do a little bit different layering. But yeah, that spiral looks pretty good. So usually I would flatten it, add the cobalt, but if you want to add planets on the front, then you want to just add that. Then you want to get another piece of glass, then this would be your front, and that's when you would add like the different, if you want to add air bubbles, if you want to boil this on the tip, things like that. Where's that color that we used earlier? little bit of a dot on this one. We'll make it smaller. We'll just add one little dot, and then we're going to round this up. And I made sure to boil this a little bit, so there should be some like air bubbles all surrounding where that colored dot is. So round this up some. And then we'll flatten it. I kind of flattened it weird there because I was trying to push the planet a little bit more over-centered. Alright, so now the vortex is on this one here. Planet's on this one. It probably should have been backwards where I had the longer piece on the other hand here. But we're just going to make it work. I'm going to actually flatten this out and widen it some. Give me a little bit more surface area. So just melt it, smash it down, and it should widen out a little bit. And then I'm going to mash the spiral directly onto that one there. And I don't know if that one went on really centered or not, but okay. We'll melt these together here. So now those are fused together as one piece with that vortex in between, a little bit of colored dot in the center there. And we'll heat it up on the back side here. And this will be our flat back. And we'll just wrap that around itself again. Just wipe it off. I do want to try to capture some air bubbles in there, so I'm hoping to get a little bit of some air folded in here and there like that. Alright, and I'll just roll it on the pad here, and that is pretty much ready to go for the next one. I do like the way this one's looking. I really wish that I had a longer rod on here, but this looks really cool. I do like the galaxy in here. So I've been calling these galaxy glass. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the other videos yet or not. I know I got a couple people in here coming and going and watching. No one's coming into the chat, but you guys are welcome to ask any questions questions you'd like. Alright, then we'll flatten that. Add the cobalt. So you just get the cobalt all nice and molten here. We just gather the tip of it, and then we're going to mash it directly onto the back side here, the flat back pendant. We're also trying to keep that flat back molten, or sorry, we're trying to keep it like annealed and hot, but not molten. We want the cobalt molten. That way when you stick it on, the cobalt mashes, and we don't indent the clear glass by pushing this on right now with the pressure that I'm pushing it onto. And then we'll pull it off. Give it a flame cut here, just pull it thin, then allow that flame to slowly do it. Do a little quick spin around, that'll pull itself apart. And we just heat this all up, flatten it with the paddle. I'm going to keep that center. Make sure you're not pushing over the glass too far to one side or the other. And just heat it up, get that nice and molten. So this piece of glass is pretty short. Like I said, I wish I would have flipped it over the other way, where the shorter glass should be the vortex being added to the whole piece here. But now I'm dealing with the flashback of the flame, trying to shoot down the rod here and heat up my fingers. Also the end of the rod here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's that glow, and that fiber optic, the heat actually travels through to the end. It's kind of weird how that works. It's like all the heat can come out the end, but I can hold the glass and it doesn't get hot like on the rod itself, but that heat can travel through. Somehow it's interesting how it transfers through like that. Alright, we're just going to mash it like that instead of on the pad. Cool. Attach the punchy. And then we're going to flame cut it off here, and we'll finish this one up. Add the loop on top. Yeah, and right here, this flame is going to try to shoot back, kind of bounce off of the wall of the face of the pendant there, and try to then shoot down the rod here. So I got to really be careful. And no one's come into the chat yet, huh? Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. I'm Dan the Glassman from Albuquerque, New Mexico here. We're just doing some live lamp working, live glass blowing here. Just flame cut that. So that one's a shorty. We'll put that one to the side. And we'll take off this excess here. That way you don't have to melt it too much. That would take a really long time to wait for that big old chunk to melt down. And then it would be super large compared to the others that I've made. So we want to keep these all um, pretty much the same size and shape. All right, we get this molten on the tip here. I'm really liking how this spiral came out. All right, we just hold it there a little bit longer. It's almost there. Just keep it liquefied. And it just all starts to just fall into place just like that. And then just hold it upward like that so then it can dome on the top. I hold the paddle underneath like that so it can keep it from, wobbling or falling over. All right, let's take a look at this and see what that looks like. Check that out. That is cool. Well, that's definitely going to be the top. Almost looks like they're like these kind of radio waves. There's some kind of waves kind of shooting out. That's pretty interesting. I don't know what's going on with the video here, but I lost my screen. I do believe we're still live, so I'm going to just keep going here. Oh yeah, there's a huge delay now on my monitor. Alright, I just push it in, pull it out. Pull it forward. Slow stretch as you do the gradual shaping. Bring it around. Alright, that one didn't come out too thick. This one should be able to shape this one down fairly quickly. All right. That one came out right. I think that dot can be even smaller. It's amazing how tiny you have to do these in order to make them look right because of the magnification from the front. It really makes things that were small look a lot bigger than what they really are in there. All right, we'll make a couple more here, and then I'm gonna let you go because we're at that 1 hour. Usually I like to keep these going for about an hour, and that's about it. But yeah, that one looks really nice. That one came out pretty cool. We'll get that one in the kiln. Alright, the kiln's heated up pretty good too. Alright, let's see if I can get this to catch up. Alright, I should be caught up there. Okay, so make the spiral. So we'll get this clear 16 mil rod. We'll get our ghost white. We'll draw the 4 lines down, and we're doing the tiniest little lines that we can. They're almost like just little elongated dots, pretty much. You just draw one on the rod and go direct opposite of that. Then go in between those, and that's it. And you heat them up. I'm trying to keep the flame more to the thicker part of the rod here, not directly on the tip. But when I'm doing them this short, it's a little bit hard to do. And then we'll just heat this up, attach it to the tip there, give it a nice spin. And then we'll just round that up just a little bit. I think there's a spiral on there. That ghost white is interesting to work with. Okay, so then we'll use this one here, which is also longer, so we won't have a really short rod. Won't be burning our fingers here. And this one we're gonna do that little tiny tip of glass. Okay, that is a small dot. Let's see how big that gets now. We do a little tiny dot there. It's amazing how such a tiny dot can go a long way like that. And I just simply heat this up. Alright, and this is the one that will mash down some. This is also the one with the dot or the planet on there. And then we'll get our spiral here. And then we'll mash the spiral on. Yeah, this makes a world of a difference when the rods are longer on both sides. I'm not melting my hand. Okay, so we'll get the spiral molten. Go to the center. Oh, that's not centered at all. That's going to be an interesting spiral. Huh. Sometimes the offset ones look cool. That was a little bit way offset though. That was interesting. I might be getting tired here. About 9:30. Alright, so then we'll just melt this down. We'll mash it down. We'll flatten it to the bottom. And then we'll add the clear glass on it here. We'll just flatten that. I mean, not the clear, we'll get the cobalt on it. So there's the vortex. And we'll melt these two down together. And then we'll add the cobalt to the back side. Alright, now we flatten it, but we don't want to flatten it all the way to where it's all spread out and as wide as it can be. So now we'll get the cobalt, we'll mash the cobalt on there, and that's why we don't want to spread that clear glass too far out, because we want to be able to spread this cobalt on there. The wider that this piece is, the harder it'll be to spread this out. So this is galaxy glass, galaxy pendants, putting basically like galaxy vortexes, making it look like the universe in a small little piece of glass there. Alright, push that center. And then flame cut it off. And then just get the cobalt molten. That way you can flatten it all out. And I think I might do one more and then call it a day. It's getting hot. Starting to sweat. I can feel the kiln. But I believe I made about 5 of them, which that's a pretty good run at $20 a piece. And some of them may not be so worthy for the $20 mark. So those ones can either be gifts or I can drop down to $10. That's the cool thing about being able to make my own glass is I know the amount of time and energy that's involved in them, and I can also give things away if I choose. Alright, so now we'll just sink in this cobalt here. I don't know where everyone is. I know there's several people came in or were watching for a while. No one came in to chat. But those of you who are watching here now, thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, man, you must really love glassblowing and the process of it. Maybe you're learning. You're always welcome to check out my playlist in beginner glassblowing lessons. Oh yeah, it's hot. Maybe we'll do one more super quick style again. Instead of doing the triple layer like this here. Maybe we'll do one more super fast style. It's just getting hot in here. Feeling it. Alright. I'm going to just mash that down, allow it to just spread out naturally. Get the punchy. And then we'll flame cut this real quick. So we just attach the punchy. Make sure the punchy's straight. And then I go right away into the front of that, where the lens is, or we're going to round up the front here. I'll start to flame cut it. Just hold that flame right there, where the rod and the pendant meet. And then you'll start to feel it get molten. It'll start to move around a little bit on you. At this point, you want to do a slow, gradual pull. Let it melt itself down some. Then grab a hold of all that white hot glass there and boom. Just get rid of it just like that. I'll melt this down real quick. Alright, then we'll get the front of this all molten here so we can pinch off a little bit. Get rid of some of this excess. And that little tiny dot is still looking large on here. That's interesting. Compared to what I thought it was going to look like. That's pretty amazing how small that dot was, and now you're seeing it magnified from the front, and it just looks huge. I mean, we're talking like half a millimeter of a dot, and now it's looking like it's close to 10 millimeters wide. That magnification is pretty amazing. Alright, we just hold it in the flame, allow it to get nice and liquidy, all wet, that white hot. Just keep holding it there, keep holding it there. You may want to take it out, it may feel like it's trying to get out of the way or try to get away from you. Just keep your spin going, keep the spin consistent, and allow it to just all melt in. And if you do start losing it, you can take it out of the flame and try to move it around to how you need it or whatever, and then get it back in the flame. But you don't want to leave it out of the flame for too long, or you'll lose all your momentum and all that heat and everything. Alright, so now I don't know how the spiral is going to look, because this was the one that got kind of spiraled all weird. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah. So I don't know if you see that, but that spiral's like all the way on the bottom. It could be on the top, but I'm going to put that on the bottom there. And then you see the little planet kind of just floating in the center there. Oh, I see we got someone here. Ford Weed. You think that spiral on the bottom, it looks better like that instead of this? I think it looks better with that bottom. That's what I'm thinking. Thank you for tuning in, Ford Weed. Finally got someone in the chat here. Appreciate you. So I'm Dan the Glass Man. I don't believe I've seen you here before, so thank you for coming in and watching. Been doing glass for 30 years now, so I try to make it look easy. I might do different techniques than others, like doing these loops sideways instead of resetting the punchy on the bottom. All right, and I believe I said we were going to try to do one more after this, or was this it? I don't remember. All I know is I am sweating. It's hot. All right, I think I'm actually pretty happy with that loop, how it came out right away. So there you go. Spiral on the bottom, little planetary action there. Nice little loop. All right, and then we just snap it right off. Just like that, and then we clean it all up. Yeah, there's definitely more than one way to do it. I've been making these 2 or 3 different ways. There's a quick way where I don't do a triple layer and adding that planet in there, which I don't even know if that planet is necessary with the color. But when I add it with the opals, then that looks really cool. Which I don't know if I have any more opals to add here or not. I think I might be done with the opals. But yeah, that one came out pretty cool looking. I'm pretty happy with that one. So these ones are all just $20. They're not too expensive or anything like that. Okay, we got 4 of them in there, so we'll do one more, and then we'll call it a day here. Yeah, you came in late. I thought that I'd have a lot more people here earlier, and there were some people coming and going, and no one started to chat. And I'm like, okay, well, no worries. I know how to keep the conversation going by myself, so that way when people rewatch it, they're not just sitting in some silence and empty space there. But like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm just playing around, having fun right now, just seeing what I can do with these galaxy vortexes or galaxy pendants, galaxy glass, and playing with the ghost white that I have here. And less is more. Making these lines basically into little elongated dots, and it's making the vortexes just so much better. I mean, I was drawing these at least like, man, the first ones, I was drawing them at least down to like here. So It's like 3 times shorter easily, but it's making it just pop out. It's so much better. All right, so we got that white in there. This is the spiral. This is what the vortex is in the whole thing. So just get that molten, attach it to another piece of glass, hold that one piece of glass, and then just allow the other glass to spin and spiral around. And you don't want to spin it too much. You want to keep it open and let it set up and then let it snap right off. Melt that down. And then at this point, this is when you would want to either add your opal with the other piece of glass to the front, or then you could add a dot. You know, I wonder if I add a dot to this, what that would look like. And then smash it. Here, let's try a whole different color. Maybe something a little bit more solid. And we'll go with a tiny little dot. So now there's a little planet on top of that spiral there. So it'll look like the planet's just getting sucked in. Alright, then we'll set this down. We'll flatten that onto the pendant. So we just need another piece of glass here. We'll get this molten. And then we'll flatten this. We don't have to worry about adding a planet or anything to this. We'll just flatten it, then we'll add the spiral to it here. So then we get that molten, we flatten it. This is now going to become the front of the pendant, but the flat part is kind of like the middle or the back side of it. We're going to add this spiral with the ghost white vortex and that planet directly to the flat back here. And push that hopefully as centered as possible. Although the ones that come off centered look nice too. So push that on, pull it off. Now we'll have a vortex in between. At this point, you know, we could turn this into a marble. I'm going to pull a little bit of this off. So then I'll heat up that clear spiral vortex glass. And we'll mash that down onto the other part that was already mashed and flattened. Nice. So now it's just got a little bit of a ridge there. We got to melt that all down. Get rid of the ridge. Keeping that flat part still pretty narrow. We haven't widened it out entirely yet. That way we can add the cobalt blue and really mash that cobalt on there and allow it to spread out to the edges of the clear glass here. Alright, so now we got that all nice and hot. We'll just get that flat. Get that prepared for the cobalt. I'm going to heat up the cobalt here. And this is going to be the last one, guys, just so you know. And I'm going to call it a night. Alright, now we get this cobalt nice and molten. We go to the center and mash it. Try to get it to spread out to the edges as evenly as possible. Flame cut it, pull it. Flame cut it, give it a little bit of a swirl. Allow it to cut itself off. Get back to the cobalt, get all of it molten so then you can mash it all down. And I keep saying that these are galaxy vortex, but in reality these aren't really vortex. Vortex is made a little bit differently with a little bit different angle, and maybe tomorrow or in a few days we'll work on some vortex beads to show you the difference there. Nice. Alright, we're almost there. It's just a little bit more of a ridge right on that cobalt and the clear right there. So we'll get rid of that ridge, we'll flatten it down, we'll make it all nice and clean. And you won't be able to tell if there's 3 layers of glass all right there. The clear, the vortex, and the cobalt. And then we got to add the loop, so it's actually 4 pieces of glass in order to make these here. Alright, we're almost there. And I do appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for the weed. I'm all about it. I'm burning right now as we go. I wish I could show you the trick where I heat up the tip of the glass and I just put it right over to cover it. Right over the bowl. It works like a charm. It's cleaner than a solar hit, probably. I don't know. It's pretty nice though. Alright, so now we got that all nice and flat. You can see it's all melted and all nice and smooth and flat on the back. Rounded on the front. We're going to get this punchy, get the punchy molten. That way the punchy sticks to the back. Make sure that the punchy rod is centered with the other rod here. It doesn't matter how the piece of glass got attached. It might look crooked, but the rods are centered. Right, then we go right to the front and let this flame just slowly penetrate into the glass. Just keep on spinning it. You'll start to feel the glass get molten. It'll start to move around and get a little bit malleable on you. And then that's when you can start to give it a little pull, then spin it, give a little pull, spin it. And once it gets thinned out, then you can go in, wipe off a lot of that excess glass with your rod, melt that down so you don't have to worry about that cracking and popping off. That's why I'm always melting this down before I move on to finishing this. So that way this is all ready and I don't have to worry about it like snapping, popping or anything. And then I always just round it up just a little bit so that way it's pretty much ready to go with drawing those lines on the tip there. So that's ready to go for the next one. And this one, we're just gonna heat the tip, get that tip molten, pull off a little bit of the excess here, round up the front of it, get it all magnified. We'll look at it, we'll see where it lines up properly and where we think the top and the bottom of this should be, and then we'll figure out where the loop goes at that point. All right, let me just get that excess off. I do like the size of that planet in there. That looks cool. So like I said, these ones are only 20, but I did make a few the other day that have opals in them. And anything with the opals are at least 50. Probably the $50 to $80 range. And that's US dollars. Those of you who are watching from other countries. I'm here in the United States of America in New Mexico. A lot of people don't know about New Mexico. They've heard of Old Mexico or Mexico. But New Mexico is a state. I believe we were, what, the 49th state out of all 50 US states. Is that right? Are we the 49th? I'm going to have to look that up. I could be wrong. Are we the 47th? I don't know. Alright, so now this is all nice and round. We've just been holding it in there to where it's all liquefied and all white hot. We'll get our paddle here. We just allow that to rest on the edge. Spin that around. That's just to help keep it straight. And we're going to take a look at it here. And oh my gosh. This can be in any way. Oh. I'm like, that, I don't know where. I'm thinking maybe something like that. And have it kind of offset. Right there, like that. With the punchy on, the loop on top. I kind of like that. And we just get the cobalt glass molten here. We get the tip where we want that to stick to. And just stick it on. You push it on, pull it off. That's how it gets a nice attachment there. And just heat up the whole thing. You get that thick part of the rod nice and molten. That way you can draw from this. You can pull the color from here and it just stretches out, keeps it thick. Bring it around. Start to like preheat that. So then when you bring it all the way around, it gets molten and then you can just flame cut it like that. I make that look easy, I know, but that's just a lot of practice doing that for a while. Most people would reset the punchy and bring it back over to the bottom of the pendant so then you could clean this up a little bit easier and not have to worry about the angles. You don't have to worry about the glass moving around on you as much. But I'm able to figure it out. All right. So there's that one. Take a look. That one came out really nice. I like how I offset that there. Just grab a hold of there, snap it off, clean up the punchy mark, make sure that the back side's all nice and smooth. This is when I'm looking at the back where the cobalt is, and as I heat it, the flame will start to like really brighten it up. And if there's any divots, indentions, little bumps or grooves or whatever, then the shadows will really pick up, and at that point, that's when I can really get it molten and allow it to all just become liquefied and then get nice and smooth again. But there you have it. I appreciate you coming along on this journey once again with live glass blowing or lamp working, and just working on some of these galaxies, and they're coming out really, really nice now. I think I figured out doing a lot smaller dots. I think that's what it's taking. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I appreciate you tuning in. Those of you who came in late, I'm sorry I have to go. But thank you for coming in. I usually go live whenever I blow glass, so there is no like format on any set time or whatever. So if you want to see me again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share it out if you'd like. And with that being said, let's get this in the kiln. Oh my gosh, that kiln is hot. Alright, I'm pretty sure that kiln is ready. Let's check. Gotta be over 1080, right? It said it's 1030. Okay, I'll wait a little bit. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back with we'll do a reveal tomorrow on what these all look like once they're cooled down. We'll take a look. And I don't know. I'm thinking they kind of need the opals in there to really make them pop. But now that I got those backgrounds looking like that, I think adding an opal in there is going to look really cool. All right. Take care as well. Thank you for the weed. It's about that time. All right. Little head change for you. Have a good night or a good day. I'm out.